Partnered by Times Influence.
I welcome you all to the first edition of the Economic Times Family Business Awards. Well, the awards are presented by Next-Gen Cloud and Data Center Technologies. Grant Thornton India are our esteemed knowledge partners. Now, the first edition of the Economic Times Family Business Awards tonight is a small token of our respect towards family-run businesses. And to begin the proceedings of the evening, I would like to introduce to you the founder of FreeCharge, famously acquired by Snapdeal. He is the advisor to the board of directors of Bennett Coleman and Company Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, would like to invite on stage Mr. Kunal Shah for the welcome address.
Ladies and gentlemen, the interesting thing is I come from a startup world, but I come from a family business background and decided to not pursue that and do the whole startup journey. And I have been fairly humbled through the startup journey and understanding and appreciating some of these large businesses and family businesses and the learnings from that. So I'm glad that this event is happening and the awards are being given to great members over here. The value of trust is so powerful, and the family businesses have maintained that. I think the big definition that I came up with that, what is the difference between a startup or a large corporation? Startups, the best definition that I could think of is that number of scary decisions they take every week. And I think that's a very interesting to think about from that lens, that how do these companies kind of operate? And the second thing that I have observed in between the large companies as well as the startups is that where is the most of the energy spent? In external challenges or internal challenges, right? I think I have a lot to learn, and I'm very happy to be in company of all of you guys over here. And I just want to just tell you that, guys, that as young entrepreneurs, right, there is a lot to look up and lot to learn. We wish there is more interaction in these worlds and we can learn from each other. Thank you so much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, professionalism is the key to survival and growth of family businesses, particularly in today's dynamic business and economic environment. But that is easier said than done, because apart from business strategy and operational issues, families also have to deal with relationships and emotions. It makes a difficult cocktail to digest at times, and I'm sure many agree with it. Fortunately, we have two of India's tallest business family stalwarts with us to shed light on this extremely important issue. We'll look to them to guide us through this maze today at a fireside chat on age of the professional family business. And to moderate the session, I would like to invite on stage the executive editor of the Economic Times, Mr. Bodhisattva Ganguly. And it's over to you, Mr. Ganguly.
Mr. Subhaya, you sent me a mail saying that, making it clear that you've retired at the age of 65 and not to ask you any questions about the business because you genuinely don't know what's going on. How has this happened, and has this been ingrained in your the retirement age of 65? Has this been ingrained in your group over a long period of time?
My grandfather laid this rule of 65, and that's even before there was any corporate companies and things like that. But my grandfather said, his three sons, that we should all retire at 65 and let the next generation run. And that's how we knew there was a 65 retirement age, and we all practice it. And so we are now, three of us, retired and enjoying ourselves.
Mr. Godrej, are you also in a similar position?
We have a family council which meets and discusses matters and decides. But we have not fixed an age of retirement. Right. But we have a very strong rule that only family members who are professionally qualified and could qualify as a management trainee that we take into the group should join the group. And what we've done is, all, I think, of our managing directors are non-family professionals, and the chairman is usually from the family.
And when did you decide on this structure? And was that what was the reasoning and the thinking behind it?
Well, a lot of learning from family business advisors. First of all, if you look back to, say, about 30 years, there was very little knowledge
Right.
about improving family business operations. It's all come about in the last couple of decades. And that has led to a lot of learning. We've had a lot of advisors, both Indian advisors, global advisors, etc. And of course, a lot of people have their own opinions, but I think it's best for a family to pick out what suits them and what works for them.
Right.
More importantly, from the business operation point of view than individual thinking point of view.
Mr. Subay, do you have a formal structure in terms of something like a family council which...
Not a formal one. Everything to do with, you see, family is very informal. If you, the concept of a structure is a very Western concept. So we are very informal about it, but we do meet. And if there's occasions where the chairman who wants to consult with the elders in the family, he'll call for the meeting and he'll consult with the family. He'll consult both the younger generation as well as the older generation. Right. So there's no formal, it's not formalized.
And in terms of qualifications for the family members to join the business, is there something which is laid down in black and white?
Qualifications in terms of degrees and things like that, no. But in terms of if you had one, it's good. They all encourage younger generation to do what they like to do, and encourage them to go into management schools if it's possible and they're interested. They do that. We have, fortunately, in the fifth generation now, 3 of them are outside the family, so that they can show their talent and staying outside, and then at the appropriate time, I'm sure they'll come and join the family business, as it were.
What is the process you follow in terms of choosing which family members will take over which responsibility?
I think we start off really at the bottom, and then you work your way through. And normally we start off in the smaller companies. I mean, there are multiple companies in the group, and if they do well wherever they start, they keep moving around and different companies and different products, and also move around from marketing to manufacturing to finance and things like that. If they are in the public limited companies, then they've got to make sure that the performances show and they are respected by the rest of the professionals in the group so that they can move upwards in that area. Most of the time, they are also rotated amongst these companies, between the private and the public companies, and those who do very well in the public companies move up the ladder and handle larger companies in the group and then get onto the corporate board, and then hopefully one day they take over as chairman.
What are the difficulties that you've faced in this journey of professionalism? What are the issues that crop up?
I think one of the difficulties that one always faces in a family business is that the objectives and the individual interests of family members might be different. But we've always been fortunate, and I always say this, both within the family and outside, is that we've had more businesses than family members. And I think one has to be careful. And therefore, whenever family members have for some reason or the other opted not to join the family business, they continue as shareholders, we've encouraged that.
Yeah.
And it also encourages the family members who join the business to be quite professional in their approach. And what we did, which I think has been very useful, is got the young members who are professionally qualified to start off as management trainees. Together with the very good caliber management trainees we recruit from the best universities. And they start off together, but I must say at a later stage, they get preferential treatment if they are working out well. If a family member is very capable, professional, then the great advantage to the business is that they are not looking out for other jobs outside, which some of the best talent usually does. But of course, if you have a very professional operation, then that will also be minimized. But that has helped us very much.
Would anyone like to ask any questions? Yeah.
What is coming first, the family or the business?
I think the business should take priority in any major thinking on these lines. If you give priority to the business, then the business does well, and that ensures that the family behind the business also does well. But it's very important to prioritize business interests, to my mind.
Okay. Any other questions?
What would you regard as the two most important factors which have led to your respective family businesses having had such a brilliant, run over all these years?
One of the most important things is, as I mentioned earlier, putting the business ahead of the individual or family. I think that's always a difficult decision when there are conflicts of interest, etc. And then very clearly putting family business practices which emphasize qualification and emphasize ability, not just with family members, but I think this is a general pattern in family businesses we need to take.
What could be one or two topmost challenges for general family businesses in institutionalizing good governance in their organizations?
It was part and parcel of the family training that good governance is good for the company, and respecting the directors to have a say in the matter is very important. And I think that's the governance that we've always had from the time. So when you're brought up in that environment, I don't think there's a major problem in acceptance of a good governance thing right through the entire organization, both from the family as well as from the professionals.
Thank you, gentlemen, for a most engaging and extremely interesting discussion. So thank you very much.
I'm delighted that Economic Times has taken the initiative to start the Family Business Forum. This award is extremely aspirational, and I wish Economic Times all the best. It's a great start.
For us, it is more about learning about how these successful businesses have built these large businesses. It's about taking inspiration from them. That's what we're trying to get associated with and learn from and get inspired from.
It is a much neglected subject in India and something that ought to have been done many years ago. And I think what ET has done with these awards is to give people the right to call themselves a family business and be proud of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to the most important section of this evening's program, the first edition of the Economic Times Family Business Awards. May I call back on stage Mr. Kunal Shah to give away the first set of awards, please. We begin with the first award for the Economic Times Family Business Award and the category for Family Business of the Year Emerging Companies. And the winner for this category is Kaplan Point Laboratories. And may I request Mr. C.C. Parthipan, Chairman of Kaplan Point, to please join us on stage to receive the honor.
It's a great honor and privilege to be in the midst of you. I sincerely thank Economic Times and the jury for this prestigious award given to our company. We know we are not the best or the brightest, but we are really, really good at suffering and struggle. Probably that's what has made us from nowhere to now here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The next award is for Family Business of the Year Mid-Sized Companies. And the winner in this category is Havells India. And may I request Mr. Amit Gupta, Director Havells India, to please join us on stage to receive the honor.
Let me first of all thank Economic Times for taking this initiative of recognizing the families behind the businesses. It is really going to encourage the family businesses going forward. Secondly, I would like to thank the eminent jury members for selecting us, and it's an absolute honor to be present here with all the big names of the family businesses. So it's an absolute honor. Thank you.
Congratulations, Mr. Gupta, and thank you so much. And thank you, Mr. Kunal Shah, for joining us for doing the honors. Thank you. To give away the next set of awards, I would like to request Mr. Dilip Piramal, Chairman of VIP Industries, to join us on stage. The next category is Philanthropist of the Year. Ladies and gentlemen, it's none other than Mr. Azim Premji, of course. Let's have a huge round of applause for him. Mr. Premji could not be here today because of his schedule conflict, but Mr. K.R. Lakshmi Narayan, Chief Endowment Officer of the Azim Premji Foundation, shall receive the honor on his behalf.
Mr. Premji sends a brief message through me. He says, I feel deeply honored by the decision of the jury to confer on me the Philanthropist of the Year award. Unfortunately, due to my schedule's conflicts, I am unable to join you in person tonight. I would like to reiterate that my accomplishments over the years are actually the reflection of the commitment of my colleagues at Wipro and the Foundation. I dedicate this award to them. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations. Thank you, sir. Thank you. The next category is for Excellence in Family Business Governance. The winner of this award is Thermax. And may I request Mr. Feroz Pudumji, Director of Thermax, to please join us on stage and receive the honor.
On behalf of Thermax, thank you very much, Economic Times, and thank you very much to the jury. Appreciated. I think corporate governance is something that has to be practiced in spirit, and we as a family firmly believe in that. We don't just follow the letter of the law. I'd like to thank our board, I'd like to thank our management, and I'd like to thank everybody in Thermax for making this possible. Thank you.
Well, the next award is for the Outstanding Woman Entrepreneur. The most outstanding name is Mallika Srinivasan, Chairman of the Tractors and Farm Equipment Limited. Ms. Srinivasan could not come today, but on her behalf, Mr. P.B. Sampat, Director, TAFE, is here to receive the honor.
Mrs. Mallika Srinivasan is extremely happy and proud at being selected by an eminent jury and by the Times Group. Being a third-generation entrepreneur, she has always felt that her responsibility is to raise the level of the business, so what it was before her and what it is during her time. And she has been extremely successful. She is very grateful to all of you for recognizing her success.
Thank you so much, sir, and congratulations to her and to you as well in the company. Thank you. And thank you, sir, for doing the honors. Yes, thank you. And to give away the final set of awards, I would like to call on stage Mr. Harsh Goenka, Chairman, RPG Enterprises, to please join us. Thank you. And the next category is for effective succession planning. The winner, ladies and gentlemen, in this category is Mr. Adi Godrej, Chairman, Godrej Consumer Products.
Thank you, Harsh. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I'd like to thank the Economic Times for starting these awards. I think it's a very good thing they've done, which will encourage family businesses in various fields of operation very well. And I'd like to thank the jury for selecting me for this award. I'd like to thank my organization for standing behind me in some of the decisions I have taken. And over the years, my children have been fortunately very, very dedicated and passionate about the business, which is a great blessing to me. So I'd like to thank all of you and thank the jury once again.
Well, the next award is for a category that is critical to our country's growth, the global visionary. He is none other than Mr. Vivek Chand Sehgal, chairman of Samvardhana Motherson Group.
First of all, thanks are in order for the Economic Times Group. The jury, thank you very much, sir, for selecting me. Motherson started between my mother and me, so that's how the name comes. It's no rocket science. We started off with 1,000 rupees in 1975, and 42 years I've done nothing else but what I've been doing. So in Motherson, we are a huge group in automotives, one of the most competitive businesses in the world. But we have learned that we have to keep the management professional, 100% professional, and we have to keep the family on the entrepreneur side. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sehgal. And we now come to the final award of the Economic Times Family Business Awards for showing Indian business families the way, for giving them light where there was darkness, for pioneering professional thought and management, for mentoring scores of young family business leaders in their career. The award for lifetime achievement goes to Mr. M.V. Subbiah, former executive chairman of the Murugappa Group.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harsh Goenka. Thank you very much, Economic Times. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for having me here today, this evening. And thanks to the jury for giving this special award to me. It makes me really feel very indebted to my family in terms of my uncles and my elders in my family, because they gave me the values, and those values have stood me in good stead. And it's that reason which I took up this responsibility of spreading the message to other families to ensure professionalization is just inculcating the values not only to the family members, but also the entire professional that join you from the graduate training time onwards. And in fact, that's what most of my time was spent on, spending time with the new recruits, and every chairman since then has also spent a lot of time with the new recruits, giving the values of the family to the businesses and ensure that the corporate governance is at its best, and therefore the businesses flourish. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, and congratulations once again. Thank you, Mr. Subbiah, and thank you, Mr. Harsh Goenka, for doing the honors. Thank you so much. I would now like to invite on stage Mr. A.S. Rajgopal, CEO of Nxt-Gen Cloud and Data Center Technologies, the sponsor of the Economic Times Family Business Forum and Awards, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Actually, associating with this initiative is more about inspiration, and it's about learning for us. We at Nxt-Gen, we're trying to build a family, and we're trying to build a family for ourselves, family business for ourselves. We thought there is no other way that we can learn from this and then build. So we thought, when the Times team actually came and proposed this, we were very, very delighted. I've got the privilege of actually thanking you all. I mean, it is phenomenal for us to be here and being able to thank all of you. Many, many congratulations to all the winners. It is so nice of you to be able to come here and receive these awards. I mean, and I hope we'll be able to do more and more events together like this. Thank you so much for this opportunity for me. We will continue to be associated with this great initiative, because we want to learn and we want to be inspired with all of you. Thank you so much.
Congratulations once again, and thank you once again, everyone, for joining us here this evening for the first edition of the Economic Times Family Business Awards. Thank you for sparing your time.
Families are a big facet of business across India. And I think this initiative was excellent. We should definitely continue this. So I'm happy to be looking forward to this next year.
It's a very important and necessary motivating factor for all those businesses, unsung businesses, famous businesses who go through so much toil and entrepreneurship to create value for this country. So I think there is nothing else to do but to thank ET for having created a momentum that will take a lot of people along forward.
I think family business is something which has always been very downplayed in India, and this is such an important platform, and I'm very happy that Economic Times and the sponsors behind this event, they have realized this, and I think there's a lot of leverage here which can be capitalized in the years to come.
Partnered by Times Influence.